Juice. This is John and Mike. Hi, John.
Yo.
I'm Mike. We are going to talk about two very movies. We're going to talk about Maniac Cop 1 and 2. And just look, we're not making a political statement or anything. We just felt like watching these movies.
Right.
I know that if you typed Maniac Cop into YouTube expecting something else and this came up, I'm sorry.
And if you're in danger,
if
you're in danger, please call the police.
Please call 911 immediately. That's not legal advice. So
exactly.
So we're talking about Maniac Cop 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Two of the most underrated, would you say wannabe horror? Like, they're so like middle of the road in terms of genre, like horror, action, thriller,
slasher, even
slasher, yeah.
There's definitely those elements.
Yeah. Very directed by, I think they were both written by Larry Cohen. If I'm not gonna lie, I'm doing some research here right now.
Yeah,
because I want to make sure I'm getting my facts straight. Larry Cohen. Oh, he died recently. I didn't know that. But yeah, he did a lot of. He did most recently, I think, if you were to think of a Larry Cohen movie, Phone Booth.
Oh,
remember the Colin Farrell movie where he's stuck in the phone booth?
Yes,
that's a pretty. Yeah. I like, in retrospect, I think I dislike that movie more than it deserved. And then also Cellular, which I didn't see, but I think that's the one with Chris Evans, I think, right?
That one I'm not familiar with.
I think it's Chris Evans and... Yeah, it is Chris Evans.
Jason Statham, apparently, and Kim Basinger.
It's basically the same story as Phone Booth.
As which one? As Phone Booth?
It's pretty much like the guy's got to stay on the phone the whole time, and the movie takes place in real time, which makes it more suspenseful. So a suspense writer.
I haven't seen Kim Basinger in a long time in anything.
Maybe she doesn't want to be seen. Maybe something happened to her.
Maybe. I remember having a crush on her.
Oh yeah, Batman.
Yeah,
hottest 80s chick.
Yeah, she was like one of those 80s chicks for sure.
Yeah,
I feel like if you look up 80s chick, you'll see her.
It's like Cindy Crawford, Kim Basinger, whatever else you got. But yeah,
she was actress, 80s actress chick.
Yes, 80s actress,
blonde. I guess a little busty and.
Very pretty, competent actress. But yeah, he's written a number of movies that, he wrote The Stuff, which is a weird movie in itself. And yeah, just like, this guy's like a classic writer. I mean, he's dead now, but
okay, I've heard his name before.
More suspenseful stuff than like good, like quality things. Like, it's like he wrote just to get it out there. That's what his movies kind of feel like, and that's kind of like what these movies feel like. But they're kind of they're so we've got Maniac Cop, right?
Yeah,
and
we're gonna be talking about both of them too. By the way,
we're gonna talk about
one and two.
Maniac Cop 3, we don't really want to discuss, not for any particular like personal reasons. We just don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, we felt we had enough Maniac.
we had enough Maniac Cops. Oh wait, don't say it like that. So we've got like
right.
We've got Maniac Cop. We got this like mysterious, gigantic cop going around. He's got a baton, right?
He carries a knife. Oh, he does carry a baton, but he kills with a knife.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. You see him kind of
He's got
swinging
like
it.
he's got like the white gloves, like in his dress blues, because that's how
That
he was
was
very.
neat. I
Yeah,
appreciated the wardrobe.
the costume. Yeah, it's very You
Is that
wouldn't
like
walk up to
old
this
school?
cop. Yeah, it's old
Uh,
school. Yeah, he's got like the hat and like the dress down shirt, the
mhm.
coat. Um, so yeah, he is creepy looking. Thank you, Robert Zadar, who looks weird enough as it is, and then they put makeup on him and
He was a
they made
big
it look
guy,
like
man.
he's a huge person, or he was. And yeah, intimidating cop guy starts killing people. Nobody knows who he is. It's eventually realized that he was framed, right?
It was like it's really a mixture of things that you don't know if he
It was
was
like the perfect storm of Maniac cop.
right. He was a great, I mean, he was a great cop in that he took down a lot of the crime, he took care of a lot of the crime in New York, but they also, oh, well, actually you're not sure if he's innocent or if he was guilty in the first one. You do find out in the second one though.
That's right.
Um,
I'm
but
sorry if we sound clueless. It's because it's been a couple of weeks since we actually assigned ourselves this movie.
yeah. Um, but yeah, so you're kind of in the first one you're not sure if he was like this cop that was just too ruthless or if he was just a great cop who was screwed by the system.
Yeah, yeah. So like it is unfortunately timely, but it again we're not talking about that shit. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, He is a maniac cop. Bruce Campbell gets mixed up in it. I think Bruce Campbell was used as like a possible perpetrator of the attacks just because of the shape of his head.
Right. You think it might be him
Yeah,
throughout the movie, and like about halfway in the movie, he comes. I would say like halfway through the movie, he comes in, right?
yeah. So you automatically think like, oh, this guy just came out of nowhere. Um, but yeah, it's
His wife is real scared, and she's been getting phone calls that from a female voice saying, "Hey, your husband is the killer that you've been reading about in the newspaper, and look, he's going out at night, and there's this voice from a female that she's watching them, Bruce Campbell and his wife."
mhm.
So that just reinforces too, like, oh well, his wife is scared of him, and maybe he is the killer.
Yeah. But we very quickly learned that uh, it's a maniac cop, and it doesn't last that long, right? Like it doesn't drag out the suspense in terms of like who it is.
It does kind of drag it out. Um, I felt it was a good. Well, no, actually, no, my bad. No, it doesn't drag it out too long. No,
Um, because yeah,
it
once
it
you
felt.
yeah
I guess when I saw Bruce Campbell, I felt like he came in late
yeah, it
in
was a little
the
too late.
yeah. So I would say that they waited a little too long to bring him in
It
the
was kind of
story.
above suspicion at that point.
A bit, yeah.
But
Oh,
do we have two tracks now?
it should just be one, I think.
Okay. Yeah,
Still,
it's still going. Okay. Yeah, gave me a little like weird. Whatever. Let me get on my Wi-Fi. Um, but yeah, Bruce Campbell gets, as a result of him just showing up in the middle of the movie, um, he's arrested, right?
he is, yeah, in suspicion to his was it his wife's death?
Yes.
and murder.
Murder by Maniac cop,
And so
which we all know
they
is a felony and not a misdemeanor.
and everyone, even the police, they're blaming him for all the other killings that happened
Yeah.
around town.
Yeah. So it is kind of a commentary, unfortunately, but yeah.
A little bit, yeah. You see some news reports, and you can't help but think about that.
It's a movie. It's about corruption. It's about like possible corruption, and then ultimately it's about a zombie murderer. So it doesn't take itself that seriously, but it feels serious while you're watching it.
You've been telling me about this film for maybe a year now.
Yeah.
And so I finally just got the curiosity and to watch it a couple weeks ago, and dude, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. No, it's a I think it's a solid 80s horror movie. I think it's what I want to emphasize is like the technical aspects of it, because not just the costume and the special effects, but like just like the way it's shot. It feels like a good cop movie. Like it feels like it feels like a Lethal Weapon, or like the way things are shot around the police station, things, the way certain angles are caught, the way the action is framed, feels very solid. And that's kind of what has my attention about the movie, not so much the content, because honestly, Zombie Cop, you could go any direction with that.
And
the
idea
could have been the
sounds,
worst movie ever.
I was gonna say the idea sounds like it can go south super fast.
Easily, yeah. Fortunately, I think Larry Cohen seems to have a close relationship with all of his movies. Because they're all pretty. I mean, the ones that I've seen, I'm not going to say they all, but like they're all pretty competent. The ones that I've seen. And that's a little too much of a coincidence for the writer to be that. Like for just the screenwriter to be that competent to make the movie actually work, because good screenplays get screwed all the time.
I would, as far as quality wise in general, I would put this right under like a Children of the Corn, Stephen
like something
King
like
movie.
that. Yeah,
Christine.
Christine.
And those are the two that came to my mind after watching the first one.
Yeah.
I was like, this, if I were someone who was looking for just some kind of slasher horror film that wasn't, too over the top or just bad, just something different from the 80s, I would be pleased. Like I would have been pleased watching this movie.
Yeah. I guess it's a good, competent, fast-paced. Well, I wouldn't say fast-paced, but like well-paced. It's not
well-paced. Yeah.
It doesn't overstay its welcome.
It doesn't.
It feels good. It's you feel good after watching it, even though it's it's not trashy. It's not raunchy.
Either. It's not raunchy, no. Not super gory rare. Either. It would.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of gore or anything like that at all, really. It only runs 85 minutes.
Yeah, that's why it feels so good. It's like a nice long morning shit. Actually, that's pretty long for a morning shit, but an hour and 25 minutes, like you got a problem there.
Yeah, like you're sick.
But yeah,
Shereen North, the actress in here, was pretty good. William Smith, who played the detective, which I was sad they killed him off.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Richard Roundtree is in here as well.
Richard Roundtree is in there. Yeah, I love Richard Roundtree.
And then Lauren Landon, she did a good job as well.
Yeah, everything.
So they had good actors. They had a good
competent actors, competent shooting, the cinematography.
Oh, Tom Atkins. That's who I was thinking of. Who they killed off.
Which one is that?
He is
the lieutenant.
Yeah, Frank McRae. He was the main guy throughout the whole movie, and it was sad to see him go.
I think there was it felt so abrupt that like I thought like maybe something happened to him during shooting or something. Is he alive? Yeah, he's alive. But I was like, that was pretty abrupt, like for him to just vanish from the movie.
It was.
But that's another thing that kind of keeps the movie. It kind of keeps your interest. Is like, who's gonna go next? That's the suspense part of it. Because apparently Larry Cohn is not afraid of killing any character, except for the Maniac cop, who is actually the main character. We just don't discover that he's a character until other people tell us he is. So yeah, do you want to talk about like what you can explain it better than I can? Like what convoluted business got Maniac Cop to be a Maniac Cop?
So yeah, this was interesting to find out. So it turns out that he had a girlfriend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who is who's played by what's her name? I just had her name here. Where is it? Sheree North.
Oh yeah, okay.
Played his girlfriend, and so what happened was Maniac Cop was sentenced to prison. He goes to prison. All the inmates he put in there, so they have it out for him from the beginning.
That's right. Yeah, that's a pretty disturbing scene, actually.
And they cut him all. They cut him up. They jump him in the shower.
Yeah,
and
they cut him up pretty good.
And so he's they think he's dead. They find him, and there's a doctor who I guess does the autopsies and stuff.
He found out he's not dead.
Yeah, and he admired the Maniac Cop, and I forget his official name, but you remember his name?
I don't.
I forget his name too. Officer Matt Cordell.
Oh, the actual Maniac. Yes, yeah, Cordell. Yeah.
And so he was. Oh, sorry. So he was. Sorry. So Officer Matt Cordell was, or the doctor went ahead and he admired him, and so he called up his girlfriend and gave her the body, gave her the Maniac Cop, and so he could at least live out the rest of his life out of prison while everyone thinks he's dead. And so
beautiful story.
And it's kind of strange because he has like this kind of Jason and Michael Myers.
Very Michael Myers. Yeah.
And so
like he starts stalking everyone that he feels wronged him, right? Or he starts acting as a vigilante.
Well, so here's the thing: is that he wants revenge on the. You find out that he actually wants revenge on like the mayor.
That's right.
Certain city council, I believe it was, and commissioners and stuff like that. Something like that, where he he's so upset at what, they put him in prison, they made his, they ruined his life and all that. But his girlfriend notices that he's, I guess all that anger just makes him want to kill anyone. So he ends up killing.
His spirit is fueled by anger.
And he ends up killing innocent people as opposed to the criminals.
Mm-hmm.
And so his girlfriend, you even see them arguing, and she's like, why don't you kill I thought you wanted, I thought you were going to kill the criminals out there, but
yeah,
you're
dole out justice.
Yeah. So, so she's the only one that he listens to, and so she also like is trying to cover up for him. So she sends him out to kill the officer, Lieutenant Frank McRae, who's been investigating, and eventually wants him to kill Lori Landon and Bruce Campbell as well.
Yes. Which he accomplishes. A movie later.
Yeah, because you find out that, well, they kind of, it's kind of crazy because he ends up breaking into the police station,
mm-hmm.
the Maniac cop, and they're just filling him with bullets and everything, and he's just taking them all out. And,
I love that. That whole sequence is pretty good.
It was pretty good, man. Like you said, they did it in a way where it just kept you in the movie. It didn't pull you out in any way.
Yeah.
The cinematography, and it was good.
Because like if this movie were made now, let's say if it were under whatever circumstances made right now, it would be like ridiculous. Like he'd be like this slim maniac cop who like jumps around on walls and does parkour and throws sharp things at people. And no, this is just like a menacing large man. Well, he's a zombie man, but it's kind of what makes the movie. It's I would liken it again to Halloween, to Michael Myers, to just like that dreadful feeling of like something large just creeping up on you. And that's just addressing the horror aspect. If it's a cop, you don't feel afraid. But when it's a guy dressed as a cop, it's a little more close to home. It's not just like a zombie man in a jumpsuit.
There was one scene too where, which I thought was really good, and this lady, she's hearing on the radio about this maniac cop killing innocent people, and she's pulled over by a police officer in the movie, and right after, or right, when she's hearing this broadcast over the radio, and
mm-hmm.
and she has a gun in her purse, and the police officer knocks on her window, asks her to roll it down, and she pulls out the gun and shoots him in the head and kills him. And it's just like, oh shoot, like that was freaky.
That's shocking. Yeah,
it definitely shocked me. I was like, oh shoot, like, and so that was interesting. I mean, it was a good part of the movie, like the way they put it in there and everything.
Yeah, again, you don't know, was that the
who's gonna die?
Who's gonna die? Who's gonna live? If there's anything wrong with the movie, it's that. Like the same thing that I feel like it got right is that it also got wrong, was like you don't feel a personal connection to any character, because it kind of keeps them all in limbo unless they want to kill them off.
That's a good point. And bringing in Well, you did. Yeah, you're right. So like for one, they brought in Bruce Campbell late,
Yeah.
and they killed off Tom Atkins towards the end, um, who you've been following up until that point. From the
Yeah.
beginning all the way up to that point.
And if you want to segue into the second one, spoiler alert, in case you want to watch these movies, watch them. But if you're listening to this, just know that we're sorry. Um, um,
So the second one, yeah, I think I know what you're going to say. It
yeah.
starts off right from the end of the first one.
Mhm.
You can tell they got better film.
Yeah, it looks a lot better.
The film was preserved at least a little better or something, right?
Yeah.
Because the quality of the colors and everything comes out just a lot more in the second film. And then but sadly, the two people who survived the first film, which is Bruce Campbell and it was Lauren Landon, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they die
they're
within the first,
killed in the first 20 minutes.
if that. Yeah, it feels like 10.
It might have been 10. Yeah, they're both killed. So we move on to our next group of
Mm-hmm.
we're immediately introduced to the detective who's going to take on the case. Who I don't remember his name. I know the actor.
So the sequel to Maniac Cop 2 came out in 1990, so 2 years later. And this one's a little bit longer. It's an hour and a half. Just 5 minutes longer.
Yeah.
And Robert Davi or Robert
Zadar?
Davi? No, for the Maniac Cop 2.
Oh, yeah, the lieutenant.
His name is Detective Sean McKinney.
Mm-hmm.
And he's so you're following him throughout the movie, and then you're also following Claudia Christian, who plays Susan Riley, who's what was she again? She was a psychiatrist, right?
Yeah, she had some kind of a psych thing going. Yeah, we're following them immediately after our first two main characters from the first movie are killed, which is why I've referenced it multiple times when we've barely talks about these movies. Friday the 13th Part 2, when they killed the main actress from the first one in the first 5 minutes. He stabs her with a corkscrew out of nowhere. And yeah, it felt a lot like that.
It felt so cheap.
It felt kind of cheap, and kind of also it kind of keeps you on your toes. It's following in the same vein as the first one.
It does, I will say. I think there's a little more action in the second one.
Yeah, there definitely, yeah. The car chases.
That especially, yeah, in the beginning, or that car chase in the first 30 minutes or so.
Yeah. We're not well rehearsed for this.
This is Bruce Campbell has jokingly stated at conventions that he does not like being reminded of or asked questions about this film, which is Maniac Cop 2. He was going through a messy divorce during filming.
Oh, that sucks.
And violators of the taboo will quickly find themselves on the receiving end of Campbell's legendary ruthless razor wit. This has led to convention goers deliberately bringing up the film in order to have the honor of being insulted by him. Wow.
Yeah, I've read that about him, that he can be kind of ruthless. But people love him for it, so more power to him, I guess.
My favorite that he's in is got to be the what's it called? Army of Darkness.
Oh, that's a great And it's hilarious, and he's got like this razor sharp wit, which these movies refuse to utilize, which I would say is another failing on their part. Sam Raimi is in the first one. I forgot to mention this, as a reporter towards the end. And
okay.
so that makes me think like Sam Raimi and Larry Cohen were like close friends or something, and that's why I don't mean to put it this way, but he let him like use Bruce Campbell, or Bruce Campbell is good friends with Larry Cohen.
Mm.
Because of course, I don't know if anyone doesn't know this, but you know, the Evil Dead series is Sam Raimi's.
And Spider-Man
And Spider-Man
trilogy.
and Bruce Campbell's in all three of the Tobey Maguire ones.
Mm-hmm. Which is so strange.
He was supposed to be in the fourth one, and it was going to pay off like the first three appearances of himself.
Okay.
As he was going to play Mysterio.
No way.
Yeah, but he was going to be like a main villain. He was going to be like the beginning villain, the opening villain, the opening like title sequence. Spider-Man's dragging him into the police headquarters or whatever.
That would have been funny.
That would have been great. Yeah, if they had let him make the fourth one, that is Sam Raimi. If they had let Sam Raimi make the fourth one, that would have been hilarious.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Wow. So it looks like Sam Raimi was a news reporter as well in Maniac Cop 2.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. This is showing here on Wikipedia.
See, the second one, I mean, tonally, the second one isn't different than the first one, really.
It's a little, honestly, to me, I would say the tone-wise, it's more a budget film. Tone.
Like a bigger budget?
No, it's weird. Like you could tell it has a bigger budget, but it feels like a lesser budget story. Like a low budget story.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
But yeah, it looks, but the colors again, and it looks better.
A little more vibrant.
Yeah.
It's not as saturated as the other one, desaturated as the first one. But no, yeah. I mean, what happens at? Let's see, we're at like the middle of the second one, basically.
Right. So I mean, it goes off the rails.
It does
in a bad way.
Yeah.
Because what happens is the Maniac Cop basically befriends a homeless dude that he found in the prison cell. Do you remember that?
Yes. And
so the homeless dude becomes his, in a way, like he's kind of his sidekick, but he's also like someone who commands him in a way, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit God, I can't remember the slasher movie, but I guess it doesn't matter. There's a slasher movie where somebody controls God, I don't know if it's Jason or not. Because it did get pretty, like, it started getting spacey then, and that's why we won't talk about the third one, because I have seen most of it, and let's just not talk about it. But it does start to get kind of like very supernatural.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the homeless dude, he's a criminal. His name's Stephen Kirkle. And or Stephen Turkle.
Steve Urkel.
Yeah. That's weird. That's a weird similarity there. And so he attacks a stripper in her apartment.
That's right.
He stalks strippers, and it looks like he's killed a few already.
Yeah.
And so
he definitely did.
Right. So then he's apparently the Maniac cop he tells him his story and how he was, and you find out finally that Maniac cop is innocent, and he was framed by the mayor and others for their own political benefit.
Right. Yeah. Which, yeah.
And
I mean, it's
so,
fine.
yeah, and that was no problem there with that story. Like, I mean, it made sense. It didn't feel like it was,
It didn't come out of left field. I think if they had gone
right.
like the supernatural route, it would have been like, it would have rendered the movie pointless, which I know movies are all pointless, but it would have rendered the movie like not smart enough on its own. So you got to bring in a Deus Ex Machina and explain everything away with he's a ghost, whatever, or he's controlled by Satan, or it was a very grounded explanation for Maniac Cop's existence.
And Stephen Turco, Leo Rossi. It was played by Leo Rossi or Rossi.
Yeah.
He was in Halloween too.
Oh, okay, all right. So we got some consistency there.
Yeah, he played EMT Vincent Budd Scarlatti.
It's too many names for an EMT.
So you see, like, well, it also gave you the sense that he had this supernatural, in a way, like the supernatural righteous kind of mission, of revenge. The Maniac cop.
Yeah.
Once you find out his backstory and that he was framed, and he was an innocent, good cop who did his job well, and was who was sent to prison.
Horribly wronged by politics.
Yeah.
In the worst way.
So you feel for the guy, you feel for him, and
you do, and he's the only person you can have a connection with. Again, like in terms of characters, like you can't connect with any of these other people because they're all just cannon fodder for him. And he's got such a, like, I've seen enough of Robert Zadar to know that he's not a great actor, but he's a good nonverbal actor. He's kind of like Kane Hodder in that way, who played Jason multiple times.
This reminded me a little bit of Terminator as well.
Yeah, true.
The first one?
Yes.
Yeah, he has that build of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
He does, yeah.
Very
he's
similar.
A huge guy. Intimidating just to look at. But
and quickly the movie turns, like, once he partners up with that guy, it just, they end up running into the psychiatrist, and they bring her along and to this big prison where Maniac Cop plans on recruiting all the prisoners to basically take out the mayor, right? And create an army of prisoners, which I thought was pretty dumb.
Yeah, that's silly. I mean, I think it was supposed to be that. I think it was supposed to be kind of comical.
Right. This one did have more of a comical edge to it than the first one, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
And so, yeah, that's one of the big differences between the two. I guess the writer or whatever, they felt like they could do that.
Yeah, and it was his own original work anyway, so it would have felt worse if it were a different writer came in, suddenly wrote it to be a comedy or like a self-parody. But it seems like the writer kind of lightened up a little bit. Maybe he got some notes or something. I don't know.
It's interesting. It says here that, so this one was the second one was a direct to video release, while the first one did release in box office. It looks like.
Oh, that's interesting. So the second and third ones, the first one didn't make anything. It made like 1% of like its budget or something, or less than 10%, something like that. That I saw.
I'm seeing like 671, 382 in the box office, and then the budget was 1.1 million.
Yeah, that's a loss right there, because marketing is always twice that.
Dang.
So
yeah, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it makes sense for them to dial it back, like you said. Budget wise, yeah, but I think it was to the movie's strength. Even if like maybe the writer had more freedom and he wanted to explore like, what if I make this like a dark comedy almost?
It's interesting because the second one is regarded, at least here according to Wikipedia, as it did receive mixed to positive reviews, with many considering it an improvement over its predecessor.
I wouldn't call it an improvement, but it's definitely on the same page. It's on the same level, I think.
To me, it's in the ballpark. I still think it's a worse. I don't think it's as good as the first one.
It's not as good, but I think it's like floating around the same area. I don't think it's like, for me personally, I just don't. I don't think it's that bad. Considering, I do have to say it's the first one I saw. That's what made me want to go back and see the first one.
Oh, okay.
I caught the second one on Showtime when I was a kid, and I liked it. Like, it held my attention, and so I saw the first one like years later, and yeah, those are my fond childhood memories right there, watching Maniac Cop 2. But yeah, I would say for me, it's in the same ballpark. Like you said, it's in there, not quite meeting the quality of the first one, but also it exceeds it in different ways. But yeah, there's still like the lack of characters that you can care about, the lack of
there is, yeah.
There's it moves like, I think the pacing is a strength to the movie, because if it were like 2 hours long, I don't think I could stand it. But the pacings of both movies are both like a strength to the story, and it's written like, it's like the guy wrote it in a weekend or something. And very brisk. It's a brisk movie.
1988 had some good movies.
Oh, the late 80s, yeah, had some good movies in general.
You had Bloodsport in 88. You had Twins, Young Guns. You had Scrooged. Big with Tom Hanks. The Naked Gun. The Files of the Police Squad. Yeah, a lot Coming to America. Die Hard, Beetlejuice.
Wow.
They Live.
So you can't blame it for failing at the box office.
Yeah, you really can't.
Basically,
I mean, there's some really, yeah.
It was already hitting, like, in terms of like the time frame that it was released, it was already hitting that lull of slasher movies.
Oh, Child's Play.
Child's Play came out at that time
in 88. Yeah.
Well, I would say that too. Like, it never felt like, I know everybody knows what Chucky is, but
it didn't do very well.
I don't know, honestly. But they were both in that lull of slasher movies where the cinemas were just like crowded with like Friday the 13th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then Nightmare on Elm Street, and then Halloween, and that's when slasher movies were kind of taking like a nosedive.
Okay. Interesting. I want to say, from the second one, there was a scene where, let me think, what was it? That was a scene I wanted to bring up. Oh yeah. So it's the beginning scene when there's a guy robbing a convenience store,
Oh yeah.
and he's like, "I'm feeling lucky. Give me a lotto ticket." And he's scratching all these lotto tickets. He's like, the cashier uh, is scratching all these lotto tickets for him with the gun, while the thief is pointing the gun at
Holding
him.
him up. Yeah.
And he's like going through them. He's like, "No, that's not a win. That's not a win." And he finds one. He's like, "Oh my God, you won $50,000 or something like that." And he's like, "Yeah, the criminal." And,
Yeah.
and then you see Maniac Cop in the background. And so the cashier is like, "Oh, shoot his ass or something, and get this guy." And Maniac Cop shoots the cashier.
Yeah, because the guy's advocating violence. So yeah.
And
No,
then I
there's
guess
lots of great moments like that in the second one.
that was funny. Um,
But yeah, I would say that these both movies are worth watching, probably back to back. You might notice some stylistic changes in the second one, but
yeah, out of curiosity, from just how well the first one was, that made me want to watch the second one.
yeah,
I was like, man, like I got attached to the characters that lived, and
yeah.
I was like,
Only to have the
okay,
rug swept out from under you.
yeah. So that gave me some mixed emotions there.
Yeah, but I would say like both of these movies are worth your time.
Yeah, definitely give
If
the first one a watch,
at,
and
at the very least the first one, and then if you like the first one, just roll the dice and watch the second one.
yeah, it'll be it'll be it'll be a lot. You'll be so motivated too, I feel like,
Yeah,
after the
it's
first one.
yeah, the second one is just it gets crazy, but if you like the first one, there's a good chance you'll like the second one for different reasons.
The director, I haven't heard too much about him. William
Lustig,
Lustig, yeah.
he's done some
Do
weird stuff, man.
It says there's a quote here that he says that it was his he believes it's his best film. Maniac Cop
Wow.
2, the second one.
Yeah, he directed all three.
It says it was the film where I felt as though myself and my crew were really firing on all cylinders, and I think we made a terrific B movie.
Sure.
And he also thinks it's superior to the first Maniac Cop. Interesting.
Hmm.
But he does a bunch of weird stuff. Or
He's done some like he did Maniac back in the day. I think it was. Let me see. 1980, he did Maniac, which is about a guy that kidnaps women, and he's done some like trashy stuff. But still, regardless of his filmography, these are good movies. These are well-made, competent films. Maybe don't watch them back to back. I don't know.
The Maniac Cop 1 and 2?
Yeah.
No, I think it's fine. If you want to do like if you have
Like
the
a
time,
double
like
feature.
a double feature kind of thing. Yeah, definitely watch the first one though, and yeah, I mean the second one, I think you just want to after watching the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I almost wanted to watch the third, but
Don't watch it. It's going to ruin the first two. That's just my opinion. Like, go ahead and watch it if you want to. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the thing. I was like, no, do I really want to? Like, I don't want to think of the movie in a bad way. Because if I had just watched the first one, I would have been like, yeah, dude, Maniac Cop, pretty good movie.
yeah. If the first one was the only one that existed, yeah.
Yeah,
But you want to watch the other ones for the sake of completion.
because you're interested. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're already interested in the franchise. But yeah, is there anything else you wanted to say about this?
I don't think so. I think we're good. Like we didn't run through the plot too much, so we got enough out of there. I think we're good. Like not just this is something that's going to be edited out, but I think we're good. Like not moving too much on the plot. Like just
Oh, okay.
mostly our thoughts. But no, I all I want to say about them lastly is they are worth watching. Don't let the name of the movie put you off. Because it does sound like inscrutable trash. Unscrutable? Inscrutable? It does sound like trash, and it's not. Like it's
Yeah,
like
don't let the name
don't judge it.
right. Don't let the name especially like make you not want or give it the time of day, because it's again if you're a fan of that era of horror in the 80s, this one's definitely
Oh yeah, it's right up your alley.
right up. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you'd love it. If you're into 80s horror, this is one that you need to see. At least the first one.
Definitely.
Don't I almost want to say don't see the second one without seeing the first one.
Yeah, I would say that. I would definitely, because if I had saw, and this is me, and this is me at least. If I had saw the second one, I would not want to watch the first one as much
Yeah.
as the
For me,
other
it
way
was the
around.
opposite, but I would say like generally,
guess-
I think people would be put off by the second one. Like that one does seem like trashy compared to the first one, but it's not.
Mhm.
So yeah, I would. Let's just do a recommendation. Would you recommend these movies?
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely recommend it, especially if, again, like I mean, I could if you want doing a movie night or
Yeah,
want to watch something that's not too scary or anything like that,
yeah.
but
It's
it's
like
still a
it's
good
not
scare here and
offensive.
there.
It's not offensive to your brain.
That too, yeah.
Um,
It's not real like
it's not high
raunchy
art.
or
It's not
anything
high
either.
art, and it's not raunchy. It's fine.
Interesting
So
characters, good acting, good cinematography. Story's actually
it makes
pretty
sense.
decent, and it makes
Yeah.
sense, yeah. Um, and the music too. It actually had really good music.
Yeah.
Like all throughout, it was going, man. That it was. It was. I felt like it was. Yeah, it was just going. They were on it. Whoever did the music for it did a really good
Soundtrack.
job. Yeah, the musical
Maybe
score.
perhaps that's something for our Music Juice channel.
Maybe.
Oh, by the way, we're gonna launch a new channel eventually.
Oh, Jay Chataway did the music, and he did the music for Star Trek television series, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager,
Holy
and
crap!
Enterprise. Yeah. Okay. Dang,
Yeah, I guess.
he's even done. Oh, he did all of. He did Maniac, the music for Maniac.
Oh, so he's like a regular.
Mm-hmm. He did. Let me see what else here. Do I recognize? I don't recognize any of these other films. But yeah, he did the music for both Maniac Cops 1 and 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And
if nothing else, check it out for the music.
Right, yeah. He I can't ever forget to mention, but it was going, man. I remember I was impressed by that too. I was like every scene it had good music,
Yeah.
and it did not disappoint.
Lots of wonderful surprises in these movies.
Yeah, thanks for recommending it, man. I know I
Of
was
course,
avoiding
yeah.
you. I was avoiding your recommendation for
No, it's
a year or
fine.
so, but I'm glad I watched it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you liked it, and I hope other people like it. Give it a watch. We're not paid by these people; they're all dead. So, um, yeah, I would say give it a watch. Give it give it give it your time. It's a good. They're well made movies. But do you have anything else?
Um, Let me think. I think I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it.
I think we're good.
Oh yeah, actually, I was seeing here, man. They were working on a remake for the Maniac cop.
I saw that, but it's never like come to fruition.
Oh, okay. It's a rumored remake.
Yeah.
It's in 2017 and 2018. It was said that the remake was still being developed, but had a completely different tone than the first one.
Oh,
And then
God.
in 2019, there was Deadline reported that HBO and Canal Plus had picked up Maniac Cop TV series that will be executive produced by Nicholas Winding Refn.
Oh, wow, that would have been awesome.
And
We'll talk about him another time, but that would have been really interesting.
through his production company by NWR Originals and John Hyams, who will also direct the pilot. Oh, he was
I don't
involved in
think
the Universal Soldier series.
if they put it out, I don't think they're gonna call it Maniac Cop nowadays.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's a good point.
Might be like permanently on hold.
It is HBO though. They can do
Yeah, and
whatever
they can do
want.
like whatever they want. Yeah.
Yeah, which is cool. I'm glad there's someone out there who can. I feel like them and Netflix.
Yeah, they can do whatever.
But all right, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yes, thank you. And
Make sure
give them a watch. Like, subscribe.
We appreciate it.
We appreciate it. We're being lazy, but I swear to God, I'll do better. And we
yeah, we have Page Master if it's
we
not
got
already out.
It's not out yet, and that's my fault because I should have had it finished Friday night. But yeah, thank you for listening, and we're eternally grateful for anybody who's listening.
And let us know if you guys have any thoughts or
recommendations.
Right, let us know in the comments. We do
want to
hear from y'all.
So yeah, we're signing off. Goodbye.
Alrighty. Adios.